Welcome back to the Empire Builders podcast. Dave Young here, along with Stephen Semple, and I was ranting and raving about a new book I'm fascinated with and crazed about. And Stephen hit the record button and decided we were going to talk about Happy Meals instead of that. So here we are. Happy Meals, huh?
Happy Meals,
The
yeah.
McDonald Happy Meal, the precursor to the Playland. I've always enjoyed going through the McDonald's drive-thru and ordering a Happy Meal, whether I had a kid in the car or not.
I could see you doing that.
I mean, it's just and then sometimes they look and go, "Well, where's the kid?" I'm like, "Hey, do you keep mind your own business about the kid. Uh,
They're in the trunk.
there's a kid somewhere. Give me my damn toy."
I was going to ask, what's your favorite part? Is it the toy?
Absolutely. And you can get a nugget, uh, a few of them.
Well, here's the crazy thing it is the most sold meal in history. There's been like
Is
35
it
billion
really?
Happy Meals sold.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of happy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And it actually makes McDonald's one of the largest toy distributors in the world. Like they've given away like billions of toys. Like
Oh, sure.
more
And
toys than Hasbro or Mattel.
and just controversy, like when they were giving away Beanie Baby toys. Good Lord, people were losing their minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a friend. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who this is. It might be our mutual friend Gordon. Somebody in our circle tells a story about their dad driving the family through McDonald's
Okay.
when they were kids, and everybody getting really excited because they're like, "I'm gonna get a Happy Meal," and their dad orders 1 cup of coffee and just keeps going. I'm like, "Oh, man, that would suck."
That would be a very unhappy car.
Uh-huh. So when did the Happy Meal start?
There's a bit of a debate about who actually created the Happy Meal. So we're going to explore a couple of the different stories. But it was basically 1974.
Okay, yeah.
And one of the stories is it was created in Guatemala by Doña Loli and her husband, who opened the first franchise in that country.
Wow.
And Danya wanted her restaurant to feel like a family restaurant. Look, she understood things had to be done the
The ma
McDonald's way to the
Sure.
corporate standards. Because, McDonald's even has like a hamburger university,
Oh,
which
yeah,
was a
yeah.
brainchild of Fred Turner, and it's a training program for franchisees. And it was like we could even do a thing on Hamburger University because it was the first of its type. It was the
Mhm.
first training program of its type for franchisees. So there's always this thing that McDonald's is trying to set where there's this goal of a consistent experience, but they also want to give franchisees some freedom because what they have found is that franchisees often come up with some really great ideas. And when there's a great idea, they want them to take initiative on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of, the McFish sandwich wasn't always on the menu and things like that, right? So
Yeah.
so this
Yeah.
fits the
So
bill.
there's always this funny line. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always this funny line where we want consistency, but we want franchisees to take initiative. Back to Doña Loli, she's sitting in her restaurant and she's watching families. And
Mhm.
one of the things she notices is this family of four comes in. The dad orders first, then the mom, then the kids. And during this whole process, it's even hard to keep the kids entertained. They're having a hard time deciding what they want to have. And then they make their way to the booth, and the 2-year-old stops eating. Then the 4-year-old stops because they're full. And she looks around. Danya looks around. She sees the same thing: food left on trays. This
Yeah.
is not great for kids. The meals are too large.
They need a smaller portion. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, Danya could be happy, because after all, she sold all these foods, but she knows parents are not happy because the meals are not being finished.
Mhm. And nobody wants to buy 1 meal and cut it in half and divvy it
Yeah,
up.
and do all of that.
Mhm.
So she starts off with this whole idea of creating a kids menu, their size and the things they like, and do it as a combo. Because not only does it create a meal size for the kids, it also makes the ordering easier because it's this combo, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then she decides to add a toy to each order as
Yeah,
well.
see, this is the special part.
Yeah, and calls it the Ronald menu. So it's better for the kids, better
Mhm.
for the family, Sales are exploding, and it's noticed by corporate. So a
Okay.
group from McDonald's corporate flies down to see her. And she's also then invited to present the concept at an annual event in the United States. And McDonald's takes this idea, trials it in a couple of markets, rolls it out across the United States, and of course, the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the only origin story.
Okay.
There's also an origin story about Bob Bernstein, who's an ad guy who's been working with McDonald's for decades and has been specifically creating promo stuff for kids. And at this time, the under 12 group, McDonald's is losing share to Burger King. Kids like Burger King better.
Mm.
And one day he's sitting at breakfast watching his son having breakfast. And his son's having cereal, and his son Steve is reading the cereal box, the same one as yesterday. And Dave, we've
Sure.
all experienced that as kids,
Gosh,
right?
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And you fight over it with your siblings.
Yeah. Bob asks his son Steve, "Why are you doing that?" And Steve's like, "I don't know, it's just something to do."
Mm-hmm.
And a light bulb goes on for Bob. It's like kids want to be entertained while they eat. So he
Yeah.
came up with this idea of creating a package for the food with games and entertainment. So Bernstein spends a couple of years working on the packaging. He actually hires a children's designer. They make this little box with handles. They put cartoons and games, put it up in puzzles, and now he needs a name for it. And he goes
Okay.
back to a jingle McDonald's had used about McDonald's being a happy place. They had at one point this jingle called It's a Happy
Okay.
Place. And so he decides to call it Happy Meal.
Happy Meal. Yeah.
Happy Meal. And they run a test in 3 markets. And again, the rest is history. Now, Bob's claim is disputed in a Newsweek article that states the directions that he did not create the idea, that he got directions from corporate because of Danya Lowley.
Okay.
But Bob says he did it on his own. The trials do well. McDonald's rolls it out nationwide. But there's a third claim.
Oh, gosh. Now, what's at stake here? Just bragging rights, right?
Just bragging rights, really, at the
Yeah,
end of the
okay.
day. But
Yeah.
there's an interesting twist here at the end.
Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up this story and tell you how to apply this lesson to your business right after this.
Social post?
Yep.
Grinding it out?
Yep. Content treadmill.
Are you getting hearts and likes?
Sometimes, just a little bit.
You're consistent?
Daily, just like my coffee.
They're entertaining?
I think so.
So?
You think it's worth it?
Don't know. Ask the host.
This podcast host?
Yep. Oh, and you can book your free starter session on this podcast website.
Take it away, Dave.
Let's pick up our story where we left off, and trust me, you haven't missed a thing.
But there's a third claim.
Oh, gosh. Now, what's at stake here? Just bragging rights, right?
Just bragging rights, really, at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
there's an interesting twist here at the end. And the third claim is that Dick Brahms is who was involved because there was a company, a restaurant called Burger Chef, which predated McDonald's. And it did a version of the Happy Meal called Fun Meal that came with toys. And that Dick Brahms noticed what Burger Chef was doing. And Dick told Bob to develop the idea. Now,
Okay.
in 2009, there's a touring exhibit of McDonald's history that said Brahms was the inventor. But in 1982, the company gave Yolanda a silver Ronald McDonald statue for developing the Happy Meal and credited her with the idea. But then in 1987, Bernstein received a bronze Happy Meal for bringing the Happy Meal to fruition. And then in 1988, when Dick Brahms dies, he's called the father of the Happy Meal. And then there's the McDonald's Behind the Arches documentary that says Bob is the creator of the Happy Meal.
Okay. Wow. So is our goal here to break the tie? Is it because I'm wondering, like, did someone get a gold prize? Because we had a bronze and we had a silver.
No one
But
got
no-
a gold prize. But one thing that is nice, FYI, Yolanda
Uh-huh.
became the president of McDonald's Guatemala. So she did well inside the McDonald's corporation. And interestingly, when they first rolled the Happy Meal out, it almost died. The toys were kind of terrible. There was like
Yeah.
a grimace-shaped eraser, there was an easel, there was dice. It was also hard for the franchisees because it was a drag on efficiency because they had to figure out how to assemble
Oh,
all of
sure.
these meals. And the real breakout moment happened in 1979 when Star Trek comes out and they do a cross promotion with the film. So it was
There
a
you go.
real toy upgrade and it exploded.
Yeah.
And that's also what made McDonald's realize these cross promotions would be a really great thing to do.
And the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, especially with the cross promotions, there'd be several different toys. And what do kids want to get?
They want to collect them all.
All the toys, yes.
Yeah. Or they'd be a girl's toy and a boy's toy.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So wow.
So they did it with Hot Wheels, and the year they did it with Hot Wheels, it was like 44 million Hot Wheels distributed, which was a third of Hot Wheels world sales that year. Then they did stuff with Disney and, crazy,
Yeah.
right?
So if I'm casting the tiebreaker, I'm going with Yolanda.
I figured you would. And why is that, Dave?
Just because I can see corporate America stealing it from a Guatemalan woman in the 70s or 80s.
Right.
Like, yeah, we can't let it be her idea. Bob, get in here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the idea that she did it for the right reason, right? It was,
Correct.
and it's not the first, certainly not the first restaurant that had a child's menu.
Correct.
Right. That's been
Correct.
going on for a long time. But to say, no, we need something special for these kids, I think that's cool.
Well, and here's what I liked about it.
I
Whether
bet she
it
had
was
better toys than a Grimace eraser, too.
Yeah, probably. Now, whether it was her or whether it was Bob, the two things I liked about those two origin stories is they both involved observation of children. So in
Mhm.
her case, it was observation of the family in terms of,
Yeah.
boy, we've got a couple of problems. The meal's too big, the kids are bored, it's too hard for them to order. Let's create a combo, let's put a toy in, right?
Yeah.
I love that observation. But I also love Bob's observation of looking at his son Steve sitting reading the cereal box again
Mhm.
and suddenly realizing, well, wait a minute. Maybe what we need to do is create a packaging that has got cartoons and puzzles and things like that on it for the kids to read while they're doing this.
I love the fact that they both came from observing children, but there's also this notion of spontaneity or concurrent ideations where it's just an idea as time has come and multiple people see it and act on it, and there you go.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's definitely a part of that, and I think it's nice that they recognized everybody a little bit at one
Yeah.
point, not all together at the same time, but
Yeah, and it could be something like that, and it could even be they were developing their ideas on their own,
uh-huh.
and then when it got implemented, they kind of got blended because I bet you, if we were really to look back, Bob spent most of his time working on the packaging, right? The
Yeah.
handles being arches, the little box, the stuff on the box. He may not have even thought of the whole idea of it being a combo and a toy inside. Yolanda may not have thought about, well, what to do with the box. She may have been like, hey, let's do this combo platter.
Yeah.
Let's do this combo thing with the toy inside. And I would not be surprised if all of a sudden McDonald's saw these two things come along and went, these are both great ideas. Let's merge them
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think
Wouldn't
that happens.
surprise me. Yeah. And
I keep thinking about what was my favorite toy that I ever stole from my kids out of their Happy Meals. I'm trying.
I'm guessing it was not the compass.
No, but man, there were some cool toys, right? That my kids
Yeah.
would get them, and I wish I wish they'd had these when I was a kid. By the time the Happy Meal came to any McDonald's near me when I was a child, I was probably too big to get a Happy Meal.
Although you tell me you still ordered them at the drive-thru, though.
Oh, I've ordered many at the drive-thru, but not as a child. The town I grew up in didn't have a McDonald's.
Wow, you grew up in a really did it have a Dairy Queen?
Sure, it had a Dairy
Okay,
Queen.
so at least
It
it had
had an
Dairy Queen.
A&W, but McDonald's was always a special treat because we didn't get one unless we were on a trip somewhere. We would be
Wow.
driving to the Front Range of Colorado to visit my aunt, or just somewhere. I think the closest one was 100 miles away.
That's
And so, of
wild.
course, we'd be begging, right, the
Yeah.
whole way.
For
And it wasn't my
McDonald's.
dad that ordered the coffee. He didn't.
Just to be clear.
So
So here's the interesting thing is the part that I find so fascinating about the Happy Meal was it was a changing of nothing. It wasn't that they suddenly developed different food to serve.
yeah,
It was, let's put these things together as a combo. Because remember, it took a long time until adult combos happened, right?
yeah.
It was years. So let's put together a combo to reduce friction. We're always talking about reducing friction. Makes it easier for the kids to order. Let's put it in a box. Now it's fun. Let's put puzzles on the box. They're being entertained. Let's put a toy in it. So it was really additions to what it was that they were already doing. And all of a sudden it had this humongous success.
Yeah, well, and I mean, honestly, if you've ever driven children around in a minivan, much better to hand them a box with some food in it that they can eat out of the box than to
Yes.
hand them a wrapped up hamburger and some French fries in a little sleeve. And
Yeah.
yeah, so kudos to McDonald's for helping with that.
It hit on many levels.
We used to turn our dog loose in the van to clean up the fries.
To clean things up. So, a big hit. And the other part that I also liked was that at the end of the day, Yolanda, she did well inside of McDonald's, went on to become the president of Guatemala, right? So
Yeah,
she somewhere, so she definitely got recognition for what she did. And it is also interesting that McDonald's, because they've done it with other things, as you were pointing out, has managed to skate this line of, yes, we want to have consistency, but we also want to allow our franchisees to do a little bit of innovation and watch for that innovation. And that's a hard line to skate. So well for them. Well done on their part.
well done, and what a great story to bring to the Empire Builders. Yolanda and Bob, and who's the other guy?
It was Dick, Bob,
Dick.
and Yolanda. That's it.
We're not in the business of giving these people awards, but I think these are three people that had a hand in making the world a little bit better place.
A little bit happier.
Just a little bit happier. Billions of toys for lots of kids and me. And thank you.
There you go.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome, Dave. It's all about you.
That's right. At the end of the day, Stephen, it's all about me. And that's true of everybody. Thanks a lot.
Well, on that note, thanks, David.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please share us, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a big, fat, juicy 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to schedule your own 90-minute empire building session, you can do it at empirebuildingprogram.com.